Go. Good afternoon, all. Thank you for coming on. It is actually nicer with the lights off, isn't it? Nice and cool.
Cooler.
Thank goodness it's not tomorrow where it's meant to be 37. So thank you for coming. It is my great pleasure to welcome Ruanna. I know we had to cancel in November because I wasn't well, so it's really good to have her here. And Ruanna has been a member of the Guild for 30 years.
You done it?
No, she was 5 when she joined. So without further ado, I'd like you to welcome Ruanna, and I look forward to her session.
Yeah. Thanks, Berry. Thanks, Berry. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out today. And we've got Zoom going, we've got the cameras going, and we've got the microphone here going. Yes, camera, lights, camera, action. So I'm going to read a little bit, and then we're going to go through a presentation, and then we're going to have a break, and then we're going to come back and do a spread that I've made up for today as well. All right, so I like to read a little bit because I don't want to miss out on anything important that I need to say. And I forgot my glasses too, unbelievable. So I've been a professional member of the Tarot Guild since 1995. So I was doing readings prior to that, but 1995 I took the test and I became a professional member. And I practice tarot and I've been teaching for 30 years. Like, that's just mind-boggling. Anyway, so today we're going to look at the Tarot Suit of Cups and dealing with our feelings, emotions, and ultimately our relationships. Hopefully we will gain some insights today that will help us create better relationships. But first, here is I've got a clicker, yes. It's all high tech happening. Here's my little tarot shop in Moonee Ponds. I moved back here in 2005 after I divorced, and since then I've been just focusing on my business. I had a conversation with Spirit. It's like, all right, I'm happy to do all this work, but I need to still travel. I still need to buy property, like have it as a normal business, you know. So, and I've created Tarot Distinctions book, which is on sale here today. And I've also done lots of hens parties and events, which I'm sure many of you have out there as well. I also attended many markets, including the Mind, Body and Spirit, and I've sold lots of tarot t-shirts. That was a big thing that I did there for a while, just black and white ones. And I sold them in tarot, like fairy shops and t-shirt shops, and it was interesting to see which ones were being sold where. That was really interesting. And I also teach in Singapore, and today thanks to my little buddy Andre, we've created a directory. So you'll see on the table I've got some information about a directory there that I've created. So now I'm helping you guys get up, or all the healers out there get up in the marketplace. As they say, no rest for the wicked, huh? Guess I always have said, and I always say to my students, guess what your reward is for doing a good job, a bigger job. It doesn't get easier, you get more work to do. So in 2008, I was also, in 2008, I was also a member of the Tarot Guild there for a few years, and I got to meet some of my favourite Tarot Guild people, and Rachel Pollock is one of them. And this was when we organised a trip to Uluru, and Jill was there as well. So I haven't seen you since 2008. How crazy is that? And we also, in that year, organised the international conference. That's why she came out to Australia. And I was so privileged that she used my little shop in Moonee Ponds to do her private readings for her clients. And sadly, she passed away April last year. So battling with cancer there. But when we walked around Uluru, it was the 8th of the 8th, 08.
Wow.
Yeah, how auspicious was that? And I remember because also there was the Chinese Olympics that started that year at 8 minutes past 8.
Wow.
So it was all, a very auspicious number, right? So here I am in Singapore. In 2010, I was asked to present to 1,000 people. Oh my God, I was sweating, believe you me. You think you're sweating now. But since then, I was asked to come back every year to present tarot and numerology, and now I'm doing astrology. And this year that I'm going there in August, I'm going to be doing Reiki as well. So I've made some really good friends, and we have lots of fun. Wrong button. All right, there's the tarot book that I've created. It took me 5 years to write this book. It was during the time that my mother had dementia. So I was able to just have those quiet weekends and just work. And it took me a year to just edit it. I really wanted to create a beautiful tarot book because I've got so many books, and I'm sure you all have as well. But they're, this small and black and white and half a page. Well, I wanted something Australian made, full colour, beautiful paper, and I took my time to do it. Am I ever going to write another book again? No. It was too much work, but I'm glad I put all the effort into that one. All right. Okay. Let us look at some statistics. So let's get some information first around relationships. And so it's very important to do research, of course. And I was just amazed at, when I started this research, how many articles all of a sudden presented themselves to me, like magic. So we're all in relationships with each other, whether it's within our own families, friends, partners, within ourselves, with ourselves. And I wanted to explore the cup cards to see what information they can give us so we can create better relationships with each other and with ourselves. To see what we can learn, make those distinctions, balance and deal with our inner feelings, and reach those emotional intelligence within our relationships as well. I believe that 70% of tarot readings have to do with relationships, and we are all looking for and wanting that ultimate relationship. Also, I would like to mention here that I recommend doing a counselling course if you're doing tarot. Even if it's just through the council, just a simple counselling, an online one even, so you can gain further assistance that will help you to do your reading better, and also to make the difference between what is counselling and what is tarot reading. And maybe that's a whole other subject for a presentation on another day that can be had as well. All right, so let's look at some statistics. So the first one, we always hear twin flame. I'm looking for my twin flame versus soulmate. So I've listed down some things, what a twin flame seems to be, and then I'd like to share what your understanding is of a twin flame and soulmate is as well. All right, so first of all, I've got twin flame is a mirror that reveals the best and worst aspects of yourself. That's why this is an intense relationship with a combination of deep love and pain. 2, you have one twin flame. You've been together through many lifetimes. When you meet, you recognise each other. As a twin flame relationship intensifies, one twin can run away or leave, while the other feels tempted to chase them because they can't bear the separation. On a side note, I knew a couple that were married. 2 years later, within the 2 years, they bought their house. They had the 2 staffies, just beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous couple. She fell very sick and found out that she had secondary cancer. So it went from the lungs into her bones. And they went to see St. John of God in South America. They did everything they could. But when she returned, it was like she accepted her lot. She was an ICU nurse at the Alfred Hospital. She never drank or smoked in her life. She grew up in Perth with you remember the foursome awesome? She grew up, healthy as, and here she is, sick as, and the only medication she took, I remember at the time, was Panadol. And she was just so beautiful. And when she passed, he was half of himself. He ended up in India, in an ashram, with a guru, trying to find himself. It was just so sad. So I believe that twin flames don't last long. They like a matchstick burns really quickly. It's very intense. So it's just like one leaves or one passes away. This sort of thing happens. Soulmate. So with soulmates, here is a romantic partner who's an excellent match and can offer meaningful and satisfying companionship. I've always said, marry the B guy. Don't go for the A guy. Because with the A guy, you're always like fighting to meet some standard that you're never going to reach. With the B guy, you can be yourself. You're happy. You accept each other for who you are. Soulmates can be romantic partners, friends, family members with whom you share compatibility and strong bonds. We will have many soulmates coming and going from our lives as we learn, grow, and step into our greatness. Soulmate relationships are enlightening because they came to learn from each other and complete karmic accounts. Sorry, don't have my glasses. Mm-hmm. So what do you think? What do you understand about soulmates versus twin flames? Anyone?
What did your soul pick the other soulmate? What, they pick each other?
I think it's like a vibration that you sort of come together. Well, you sort of recognise it.
Yes.
It's like a familiarity. It's like, oh, I know you. You feel that sort of comfortable. That's soulmate to me. Yeah.
Not from another life.
Yeah. What else? Yeah?
I went to Japan quite a while ago, they can be quite painful relationships because they are about a weight me.
Is this twin flames? Both. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Good. Nice one.
Well,
yeah, because
Actually, click on my husband's track set. This big. Not as I say, you need to be happy at last.
yeah. Like to complete some karmic debt, maybe.
My physics take place, and then that could lead to another relationship, which is all on their legacy.
Which they wouldn't have recognised if they didn't have that experience. Yeah, very good.
I believe there's only one soulmate. I was thinking go for different people in order to find that soulmate. I had to go for two lines to get my soulmate here. So,
Oh, well done. That's beautiful.
soulmate. Yeah, that's how I see it. I don't think that, because really, if you're a soulmate and if you've got a few of them, that's a big, it doesn't seem, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah, you can have a few like you've done in one after the other.
I think it's more about you're trying to find that soulmate, and then certain people come into your life.
Yeah.
And that leads on to the next part in order to get
That.
but it doesn't need to necessarily just be one that I've been in my husband for 25 years, and I think he's my soulmate. I've also been friends with, I'm not related to her, friends with my girlfriend Melissa for over 30 years, and there's just this comfortability, like it's two sides of the one line with both of them.
Yep. Beautiful. And you could have one in your family as well. Like you don't get on with that side of the family, but this person in that family always like come to get like there's a familiarity or that.
Need to be a romantic.
That's right. Yep.
Just for a connection.
Yep. Good. Anyone else? No? So we've got some distinction there about twin flames versus soulmates. All right. Some other statistics. So I found here 6 interesting facts. How many relationships fail in Australia? I thought that was an interesting question. So according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, 30% of marriages in Australia end up in divorce. Almost a third of all marriages that start with that promise of lifelong fidelity ends up in separation. Another question. I came across this 3-year hump in a relationship. Has anyone heard of a 3-year hump? I've heard of the 7-year itch, but there's a 3-year hump.
Yeah.
So the 3-year itch hump is a term used to describe challenges that may arise in the 3rd year of relationship, based on theories about stages of love. This theory argues that relationships often end or start the experience conflict around the third year. Another percentage, what percentage of Australian couples live together before marriage? So this proportion of marriage, the proportion of marriages that were preceded by cohabitation was increased since the mid-70s. So 16% of marriages in 75 were preceded by cohabitation, but today, 81%, and the rate appears to have been stable at around 80% in the last few years. So what a big difference that is, right? Because that was a big thing back then in the 60s and 70s, wasn't it? You had to get married first. Yeah. For how long do marriages last in Australia? So in 2021, the median length from marriage to separation in Australia was 8.4 years. In the same year, the median duration of marriage to divorce was 12.2 years. And that's dated 2024, that statistic. What is the cheating rate in Australia? But how many people in relation, like when you do readings, how many people talk about affairs? It's incredible, right? But here's where it gets interesting. According to the Sexual Health Australia, about 60% of men and 45% of women have cheated in their marriages. This is consistent research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology 2023. Crazy. Sixth, what is the number one cause for divorce? In fact, 75% of individuals and couples cited lack of commitment as the reason for their divorce. This was the most common cause of marriage ending, exceeding even infidelity, and that stats 2024. That's sad. All right, I've got some more statistics too. Yes, please.
You must return in anything. Yeah. And a time maybe. And in 2 years, something has to trend. It's like a majority thing. It's like a terrible twos, but it also applies to relationship that you've got to get on with something different.
Yeah. It could all depend on what age they are as well. And then there's the Saturn return and...
But if the NAS is for relations, it'll return the 2 years.
Yep.
And if you're looking for we get brought up with this sort of ideal romantic.
That's right.
Like thing would be fantastic, and
that's right.
Until then you realise reality.
Yeah. So just some handouts to share.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Five.
Thank you.
Here.
We've got enough? Yep. All right. So there's 3 pages to the one there. All right. So, number 1. So this is from Relationship Indicators 2022. So we're just coming out of COVID then, yeah?
Yes.
All right, so Australians have a variety of important, meaningful connections. So 60.1% chose their partner as their most important, meaningful relationship. 10.1% chose their mother as their most important person. And 15.9% said their mother was their second most important. So she's right up there. And 7.6% said their friend was their most important. And 16.5% selected them as second most important. That's interesting. So, because this is relationships, right? Whether it's family or friends. Oh, hang on. No, I'm long-sighted. Just try them.
That's how I need for divine babies.
Okay, you sure?
I think that means
They're better. Thank you. I found some glasses.
that's less.
Thank you, Barry. All right, 2, satisfying relationships lead to greater subjective well-being and can predict satisfaction with life more generally. So 53.3% are completely satisfied with their relationship. they chose as their most important or meaningful. I think that's high. That's high. Yeah. 3, external pressures are placing a significant strain on people's most important relationships in the last 6 months, affecting some groups more or so than others. So 22.1% said mental health in the relationships pressure, and boy, has mental health come up, right, since COVID especially. 25.8% said study or work commitments place pressure on their relationships. And I reckon that'll be high today with the cost of living that we're going through. And 20% said money problems had placed pressure on their relationships. Money's a big one. I talk a lot about money in relationships, actually. Like if you can totally eliminate a whole area of arguments if you have this stable money coming in or work, you know. All right, 4, loneliness is increasing in Australia. 19.9%, 1 in 5 Australians said they often feel lonely. 28% are experiencing social loneliness, and 19.8% are feeling emotionally lonely. And how many people are on the computer every day, stopping that social interaction, which is making them feel even more lonely? So I reckon that's probably gone up in the last couple of years too. 5, too many feel unsafe disagreeing with their most important person. 1.7 million Australians, for 8.8%, feel unsafe disagreeing with their most important person. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like they're agreeing they feel they have to agree, and I reckon it's the women that often give up. You know, they compromise themselves more so for the male. 59.4% of people who felt unsafe disagreeing with their important person were aged 55 years or more. That's interesting, because they come from that 1960s, 70s era. All right, 6. Experiences with grief and loss in the partner relationship have significant ongoing effects on future relationships. So 31% experienced a breakup, separation or divorce with a lasting impact. 12% of people received no valuable support following the death of their partner. That's sad. And 1.5% of people who reported lasting impacts were 1.5 times lonelier than those who didn't have these experiences. Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry to hear. Oh, sorry, not. Oh my gosh. Hi. That's sad. I'll get back to her. She was one of my students. Came to support me today. Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Last 2. Men are struggling to connect emotionally and socially and create strong relationships. So 20.3%, 1 in 5 men feel emotionally lonely, and 1 in 3 men, 32%, are socially lonely. 73.6% of men communicated openly about problems in their important relationship versus 80.6% of women. And 52% of men managed relationship issues on their own versus 40% of women. Isn't that interesting? So that goes back to that loneliness or not being able to communicate. 8, Australians have low rates of help seeking to address relationship issues. 46% manage their relationship issues on their own. And yet, when I'm doing readings with people, more than half admit that they're seeing a counsellor, that they're seeing a psychologist. Yet we still have, less than 50% that get that help. 9, having a strong and reliable relationship improves subjective well-being, reduces loneliness and enhances mental health. People who could rely on one strong relationship for a variety of social support had better life satisfaction, were 1.4 times less lonely than those who relied on many different relationships and had better mental health over the past 6 months. So that's just one strong relationship. They say you're lucky if you can count good friends on one hand, right? All right. So then I came across a starter wife. Have you heard of a starter wife?
Good for me.
So there's starter wife. There's even a show called The Starter Wife. Also came across a new term, a starter marriage is often another one. There is also a starter girlfriend. This is the first marriage that lasts 3 to 5 years or less, maybe the 3-year itch that was the start of the end. It may end without the couple having conceived children together. The concept of starter marriages was first discussed in 1994, New York Times article written by Deborah Shupak. So that's interesting. And then I found an article that arrived, and the question, so study revealed how often couples in a happy relationship have sex. I thought that was an important one. And I'll just read a little blurb here. We have lots of expectations about how relationships are supposed to look, said Dr. Logan, a PhD specialist in human sexuality, he told, discussing with the NBC. Many times this fairy tale model doesn't mimic our lives in our realities. In terms of how much sex you should be having, the report says there is no normal amount and it depends in couple to couple. That being said, a 2015 study used a sample size of 30,000 people over 40 years and to take a look at how much sex on average person needed to be happy with. It was determined that having sex with your partner once a week keeps you fulfilled, and those who did more than once weren't much happier.
Can be.
So I thought that was interesting, right? All right. So average once a week. So am I on with the right slide here? All right. Oh, that's the article that I just read. Right. Okay, so that's in conclusion. Okay. So let's go. All right. So now let's open it up for discussion. Let's go through the cards and let's learn to see what the cards can help us with to make more distinctions with our feelings, emotions, and to have better relationships. All right. So I always look at the tarot, the numerology of the tarot card as well. I think that really adds a lot of information to the tarot card. So what's number 2 all about?
Card check.
Beautiful. What else?
Stability.
Beautiful.
Union.
Yep.
Feminist.
Yep. Equality. I think that's ultimate in relationship, right? Equality.
Dignity.
And so then we have the 2 of Cups. So here we have union, balance, equality in a relationship here. How beautiful is this card? This is what everyone wants to see in their tarot spread when they're talking about relationships. We've got everything is so equal here. Their head, they're the same height. The cups are the same height. You've got the caduceus, the double helix there. You've got the male lion's head and the dove wings. So, you know, what a beautiful image of male and female coming through there. And you can see he's all puffed up like a male bird. Peacock stepping forward. You can see he's stepping forward, and she's the receiver. A woman has a lot of power because it's the woman that either accepts him or not. If the woman doesn't accept him, he's got no hope. What else do you see in this card?
I feel my growth.
A lot of growth. And there's the red roof on the little...
My next card is the line.
Yes.
Blue skies.
Blue sky is beautiful, yeah. No angry cloud formations.
Priestess in a
Yes. Yep, the blue tunic that the high priestess wears. They're both wearing that white undergarment, so both have that inner purity, innocence. The bottom is gold colour, so we're looking at soulmates here because that connects to the source, the divine. Sorry?
the divine soul.
Yes. So
Offering something for the other.
beautiful. And that to me is that equality. Both are 100% there for each other. A relationship's not built on 50-50%. It's like you have to be there 100%. And I like the background, how it's all green and that little red roof on the home. It's like everything is set up for them to be successful as well. There's so much available to them. Was it? Yeah?
Also, attraction. They're attracted to.
They're attracted to one another.
Are they also asking a couple of stuff to them?
Yep. What else? They're touching, they're looking at each other. Because there's the 10 of Pentacles, you know, how they've got the house and they've got the money, but they're looking out there. They're not looking at each other. They're not looking inwardly.
How would you say they're looking within and not within it? When you said the 10 of Pentacles, they're looking at the they're looking at.
They're looking at each other. They're aware. They're facing each other. One's not looking away.
Yeah, standing on solid ground, so it's firm ground, so
Stable ground. Very good. All these things, these are all those archetypal symbols that all mean something to the card, to the meaning, to the reading. All right, very good. Number 3. What's number 3 all about?
Teamwork, cup fountain.
Yes. It's a very fertile number. You put two things together, they always make a third.
The creative prize.
Creative growth, fertility, abundance. It connects to the high priestess. That's not a high priestess, erase that. The empress, yeah. She's always pregnant with something.
Celebration.
Beautiful. Yep.
It could be interference.
Keep going.
Yeah, sometimes we're really with people, and that comes out. Depending on the question, depending on what it can either be an issue, and I don't mention for me, I find that it gives me more information.
The number 3.
Yeah, when I see any threads or a lot of threads, it's a,
Oh, yes. It can be too hectic.
it means there's a third person here.
Could be. Yeah.
A third person would be others, just others. If there's an interfering element,
Yeah, or fighting with his mates.
just another who's the perfect to the light, much right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. It can be too much and too like people can't keep up with it all. Yeah.
I've actually seen the 3 come out with this big triangulation around.
Yep.
Yes, big.
Yep.
I've seen that part of it and there's a, like normally that would be a really, depending on reading, it would be an ice space and have its relationship issues. So then the 3 could represent this.
And it doesn't even have to be an issue because there are some people that like to have multiple partners and that's okay for that, you know.
One's on Christian.
Yeah.
It's honest.
Good. So here we have the 3 of Cups. So what's going on here?
You can have it on style back rings in the hair of it. Being successful can learn you can't already don't living you're successful in the business or what you need.
Yep. Celebrating that success. Yep. That's too much party. You know, some people need to curb their drinking maybe, not working enough because they're celebrating too much. But yeah, definitely this is rejoicing and going all out. Like with a wedding, you there's no money. You spend whatever you need to spend. You go all out. So there is a time to celebrate in relationships, and I say to my students and clients, celebrate birthdays, celebrate anniversaries, celebrate, everything, because we're so negative. We're geared to be so negative. We don't celebrate enough. And we have to ground that feeling of success. Write that card, make that effort. It's worth it. I see lots of couples, we just buy what we want. No, make the effort to, respect or flowers, something. So definitely celebrate it.
Okay.
Number 4. What's number 4 all about?
Work.
It can be hard work.
Stability and foundation.
Stability, foundation, commitment. I've had 4 years without money, and they were really tough years. And I've had 4 years with money, and I wanted to roll up my sleeves and work, put that effort in even more so. So it's a commitment thing, it's a responsibility thing. Yep. Structure. Yep. Very good. What else? Number 4. Yeah.
Laying down the foundations.
Very good.
Your business.
Yep. Laying down strong foundations for a stable relationship. Where are the foundations in the relationship? People just fall in love and then it crashes. Yeah, it has to be, how many relationships succeed if the family doesn't support the relationship? It's a family affair, especially when the kids come along. So with the 4 of Cups, what's going on here?
That implement. Then seeing what they for them, what could be possibilities.
Yeah. It's not looking at what's being offered, that's for sure. Yeah.
Empathy. It's being offered by a spirit. He doesn't need to be outside. They need to move inside. So to me, that means like come on this contemplate you, the choice. Then after.
Yep. Yeah, I get lots of people saying he's meditating, he's deliberating, he's in a yoga position, lots of different things are happening here. I do like that he's sitting on that green ground and he's got touching that tree of life. There is that nice connection or very grounded energy there. But what's with the crossed arms and the crossed legs? What do they suggest?
Blockage.
There's no flow, nothing coming in, nothing going out. So yes, he is definitely within. And you can see that he's wearing the red of the magician and the blue that connects to the high priestess, but it's underneath the green vest over the top. It's like he's not showing his true feelings. They're hidden. And normally, yeah.
It's also stuck.
Can be stuck.
And I'm sure there's sort of things are off, but he's not sure where it started. So maybe the costume is upon what I'm sure he can't.
That's right. Where's the stability here for him to feel that confidence and that surety to be able to make a decision? Yeah. So stability, foundation is really important in a relationship. And also it's interesting, look at the purple mountains, what's supposed to be purple mountains in the distance. It's like he's higher than what those aspirations are. Normally you see someone looking across to the purple mountains, a striving to have that higher to reach their goals. But here it's like he's higher than what they are.
I also think that could be that you surpassed by what into the past, and might have been from us things to each, and it's you offer the biggest time to recover.
And maybe that's what the 4 is saying. You've got to give yourself time, because how often do we hear you don't rebound in relationships? You've got to make yourself stable before you move into another relationship. Maybe that's what he's doing.
Good.
It's not isn't it great?
It's interesting that it follows on for the 3. You're bringing in new theories.
Well, we all are.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And, I think we need to go back to the card. Let the card tell us what, let us flush out what it's saying. And we often want to go somewhere else with tarot when deal with the basics, I mentioned in my last presentation when, we're not, because my background's Taekwondo. So, every time you go into the hall, you practice the punches and you practice the strikes and you practice the kicks and all of, it's the basic stuff. And you get faster and you get sharper and the style comes out dealing with the basic stuff. All right. Number 5. What's number 5 all about?
Okay.
Can be. Yep.
Canaan.
Yep.
Freedom.
Yes.
Silence.
Sales.
Yeah.
As in.
I rather would be to be people into Jesus stuff.
Very good. There's a freedom about them. They're very self-expressive. They're good. Number 5 people don't like a 9-to-5 job. It breaks their spirit. They need that room to express themselves. They can work in a corporation, but as long as they can move around, maybe they travel with their work as well. But 5 people in a relationship, they might want a different type of relationship, unconventional type of relationship. Freedom in the relationship. Because a lot of people in relationships think that they have to do everything together. And doesn't that breed contempt at times? You need, I always think of the husband and the wife or the partners, whatever, walking down the mall, and she's like, "Oh, baby clothes," and the partner goes, "Oh God, not the baby clothes," but then he sees motorbikes, and she's like, "Oh God, not the motorbikes." You're meant to do different things. You're meant to do the thing that the other one doesn't like to do. That's how you support each other. You can't just all do the same thing all the time. Yeah? Doesn't make sense.
Good.
And travel. Number 5 people like travel, movement. And you see these families driving around in caravans, living here, there and everywhere with the kids as well, homeschooled, right? My friend Andre, you lived in Philippines there for a little bit. How beautiful was that? And you're striving to do that again, to bring the whole family there. All right, so what's going on in this card?
Lost.
Yeah.
Disappointment.
Yeah. It's huge, this one. So so in a relationship, there will come a time when there is this grief and loss and disappointment. It's part of the journey. It can't always be celebrating and having fun. I always think this person's lost their dream, or this could be like a divorce thing, because they've worked very hard to build the house, and now they're separated, some emotional separation. But we know that there's 2 cups standing behind him, and there's also a bridge behind him that he doesn't see. He can fill up those cups at the river. There's a lot more going on, but he's so in having his own little pity party that he can't see the bigger picture.
I also think that card represents the great time of passing. And this, but mainly being very reflective about past, and so back there's an awful something new coming in. Yeah. I've been spending a lot of time thinking about I think I wake up. So if you look at what you're miserable about, don't you need to say actually it's challenged today.
And number 5 says that's the change you have to make.
Great.
There's the water will. This too will pass. This card always reminds me of Donald Neil Walsh. Did anyone go and see him when he came out to Australia? He wrote the books Conversations with God. Is it Neil Donald Walsh?
Neil Donald Walsh. I'm heard of it.
Yeah, I've read the books.
Yes. So he's done a whole movie about his life and how the Conversations with God came about for him, and how he was in this beautiful home and family, and he separated, and it shows him in the movie looking in the window, and he sees his wife, kids with this other partner around the fire having a beautiful time together, and he could feel the loss, and he ends up breaking into the shed and gets a tent, and he goes into a caravan park for a few days, and he's in his tent, and people are throwing water and food under the tent, and he opens his eyes one day, and his eye just fell on this little article on the newspaper that they were looking for someone to run a radio show, and he goes, I could do that. So all of a sudden he gets excited, and this is his new opportunity, and he goes there, and he's on the mic and everything, and he's next scene you see him in his own apartment, so he's really thriving. And one day he goes to work and they've locked the door with chains, and he's like, what's going on here? Why can't I get in here? So he ends up going back home, and he gets the legal pad. So in America the legal pads are yellow in colour. So, and he starts writing this conversation with God, and he's got so many legal pads all filled up. And he made friends with the receptionist at the radio station, and he went to her and he said, can you please type all this up for me? I'll pay you later. So she's typing it all up. And this is how Conversations with God started. And he ends up presenting her with a check for $1 million for typing all that up for him. How's that? But it was just, sometimes you have to go through this dip, this depression, this down. I say to people in relationships, while you're down there, learn something from it. What do you really want in the relationship? What's the change that needs to happen to, so you get what you want out of the relationship, and they will get what they want out of the relationship. Make each other happy. Anything else?
I think it's also I think it's because they're stuck. And if they can just see that they're obvious on the way, or around the corner, but maybe I agree with you. I think that they need to go there just to sort of give that final say that.
Yeah. We need to pay attention to the group and work through it and see the opportunity.
It's an important part of it, There's counselling, there's psychologists, there's relationship workshops, there's Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. One of the number one books I recommend every people in relationship should read. He's like what's his name? Jonathan Gray, Professor Jonathan Gray. He's like the number one relationship psychologist in the world. And it's such an easy book to read. You'll get something out of each paragraph. I encourage people in relationships to read that book, to make the most out of it. Anything else? So this is part of the process. This is part of the things change. I remember, when I look at my relationship, when we first came together, we had those jobs and we had those cars and we lived like that. And then as we grew, we had different jobs and we had different cars and we had different responsibilities. Like, things change. We change in the relationship. You grow. All right, number 6. What's number 6 all about?
Beautifully. Adam.
Yeah.
Where's it? Yes.
Yep. Giving service. It's a beautiful number.
Balanced harmony.
Yep. Always makes me think of Venus. She always loves that beauty and harmony and gracefulness and giving service. Yep. Good peacemaker, the peacemaker number. What's going on here? This one's a big one. And everyone, oh, it's such a pretty looking card. What's happening?
The happy childhood. And so,
Yeah.
Going back to some of the things.
again,
Has done it for still.
Nostalgia. Yep. I like how the little boy and the little girl are wearing the red and the blue of the high priestess and the magician. But she's totally covered up. She's got the shawl, she's got the gloves, she's got the pinafore. Yep. There is innocence here. Innocence in the relationship.
But when you first meet,
Yes.
that's it. Tobacco.
Yes.
No reps there.
It's the same, but
On the surface.
Well, the adults they're within the walls of the town, but they're in the garden. That and the adult is already waiting him, so it would appear to be a safe place for those things it's children and unprotected children today. But the ship got too fake.
Yes.
We can't see clearly. There's one facing orbit and one facing back. And there, it does bring up the question of the and its perception.
Yep.
What do you mean that somebody's looking face?
Yep. Yep. Go on.
Look, two ways of these more broad beginning to say, as you work to get in is make it things like because that's where your style that all your parents might also be what
Yes.
and not so weird. Like you see,
Correct.
that's why there are cracks in the facade.
That's right. The tiles are falling off the roof and it's all painted in this golden hue as if we're harking back to this golden age. And but she's protecting herself. So why is she so protective like that? There's mistrust here or there's something going on here. And then what's this the symbol for? The cross of martyrdom. And it's quite sad and it's prominent because, everything's gold. And what's with the little black windows? Why don't we have the green, like in the Two of Cups, we had the green field and the little red roof on the home and the river running through it. Here, it's all like, and if he's a guard, because he's holding like
Why is she there?
why has he turned his back on all of this? So there's, and the flowers are all controlled in the cups. Then they're not free. So there's restriction or artificial or
Their feelings.
camera. Yep.
I'm seeing that in how they have want and but
In where? Yeah.
just comes up millions.
Yep.
Saying they can't quite because looking at the symbol is that
Yep.
and the card that's spotting on that says it's like maybe here the winds of the past.
Yes. And that's going to come up in the relationship. I know for my relationship, it was 5 years in our relationship that he finally opened up to me because my ex was an alcoholic and a drunk addict. But it took 5 years for him to open up to me to tell me what happened to him as a child. But back then there was no counselling, there was nothing to support him. Yes, there's maybe A&A or Alcoholics Al-Anon, to help people dealing with all of that. But he was a Scorpio, so like water, emotional intensity. no wonder he tried to drown the pain.
I thought when you stole direction, I was going to say to you that I've noticed this kind of being in relationship where we're pulling, all of us, including myself, we're pulling exactly what we need to take us on that healing journey, whether we like it or we don't.
Correct.
And so,
I believe that too.
you know, like I've recently had a client, she's got the most amazing relationship I've ever seen, but that's a rare thing. But you can see it's going to be beautiful for a couple of years, and then things will start to go to the 3 years to start to get deeper. But I have seen this start come up a lot in grief.
Yep.
You know, like you want domestic bliss, you want to be happy and free, but you've got to go in and clean that up. And this is why these energies are happening to take with it.
Yeah, you have to go through it to have that successful relationship. As an astrologer myself, I always talk about how we meet in the house of Libra, because Libra is Venus and it's all about relationships and, you know, falling in love and like, oh my God, he's got 2 eyes just like me. You know, like all these beautiful, you say honey bunny love and you call each other all those sweet things. But then the relationship has to go through Scorpio. And so in Libra, this is when you see their beautiful coat that they're wearing. You're like, oh my God, I love the style. I love the coat, the texture, the color. The coat looks beautiful. But then when the relationship goes through Scorpio, you see what's underneath that coat. And you see an ugly, torn, smelly T-shirt. And you have to deal with that. You know, the relationship can't stay in that Libra energy all the time because it's stale. It'll become stale and empty. It has to go through that Scorpio. You have to deal with that ugly, torn, smelly T-shirt. And if you work through it, then the relationship goes into Sagittarius. And that's when you see underneath that ugly, torn, smelly T-shirt, you see the beautiful body, the beautiful soul. You see what's truly underneath. So, you know, the relationship has to go through that Scorpio. The stuff will come up in the relationship. It will come up. And today, no wonder those stats are so high that, you know, relationships don't last, lack of commitment and whatever else we looked at. People, it's too hard, I'm out of here. So, salute. Instead of staying in the tension, you've got to stay in the tension. That's when the magic happens. That's when, you know, the ego wants to control everything. The ego says, you've got an ego, an inner critic and a patriarchal voice in here all telling you how it should look like, what should happen by when, ... But if you stay in the tension, all of a sudden you see other possibilities show up. That's alchemy right there, staying in the tension. But people can't handle the tension. They back off, shut down, they leave. So it has to come up. This is part of being in a relationship, and I'm sure you can all share that tension, that pain in your relationships. Anything else with this card you'd like to share? It's a good one. Brings stuff up, doesn't it? All right.
Appears to be.
It's exactly. It's not what it appears to be. Number 7. What's number 7 all about?
Reassessing.
Very good. Reassessing the situation. Yep. It's a magical number.
Good.
Spiritual. I always call it God's number because on the 7th day he rested and he reflected on what he did. So it speaks a lot about introspection, like inner work. Planning, preparing, thinking, studying something.
The number of the teacher.
The number of the teacher. Beautiful. Yeah. So we have 7 of Cups. What's this card teach us in a relationship?
Choice.
We always have choice, yes.
This is the one way the soul, the feeling, the whatever it needs to be for you.
Yes, the
Ego, constant.
yep. Your inner self, your inner soul will always make the right choice. Yeah.
The other cups are quick hits.
Say that again.
The other cups are a quick hit.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. Very good.
Ruanna, self-belief thing.
Yes. Hello.
The pie. You weren't wanting in a relation. It might be. I get. Is that the way?
Very nice. So Diane's saying, you know, what role play do you want to play in your relationship? Yeah, along those lines? Yeah, you have the choice. I like that. What do you see here on this cup?
Good. Nice card.
So and when do we normally see skulls? What do they tell us?
Today?
A skull?
Oh, it's
When you see, remember the poison bottles and you used to see the skull and the crossbones? Or when you see a pirate flag, what is that warning us? Yeah, so victory is not the one. It's not like I'm going to win, I'm going to beat you. That's
poison go.
the the chalice with the chalice with the, yeah, you
He said,
brew that is true.
And also feels is dull, and because basically if you base everything on materialism, it's not going to last another. It's just fleeting. I would have said it's taken slowly as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and just look at everything and is it the island?
I think it was another thing that very good at all.
I remember I did a course with Dr. John DeMartini, and he talked about the 7 areas of empowerment. So it's not just having the wealth in the relationship. You've got to have, you know, you're happy with your friends, happy with your family. You've got your finances sorted. You've got your spiritual work sorted. You're growing. You're learning. You're mental. You're studying. You're growing. Like, you've got to have success in all those areas to truly be whole and happy in your relationship and fulfilled in your life as well.
If that tell me, like, you get edged out of the side?
Yes. So it's like your soul or your unconscious is choosing, and it will always make the right choice. See the one with the aura highlighted there? That's the one that you will choose, ultimately choose.
But it's also a bit cloud.
It's veiled, we don't know what it is. Yeah.
I mean, the whole bottle
Oh, yes.
in a cloud.
Yes, and clouds are always symbolise.
Temptation.
Well, it depends on the cloud. If it's the dark cloud, streaky cloud, yes, I would say confusion. But when it's round and fluffy like that, it's more like symbolic image, because clouds are always like in a shape of a dragon or a bunny rabbit. Like there's a symbol of some sort. And so here we have all these 7 symbols in this cloud, symbolic cloud. And
If you had a client that their pet is playing, it'll be in a cloud.
yes, perfect.
But it may be negative folks thing, because you guys are selling a focus thing.
But there could be negative, because 7, we're still in the unknown. We're still introspecting. We're still reassessing things. It's not clear.
I was saying about Carmen was so amazed. You get the reading because it depends on the reading. Let's say you got that attitude. I'm going to tell you that for a job you did. You could just, it might say that you go for the interview and you're unsure. But things don't appear to be what that, the person's saying, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, I would say that.
What about in a relationship?
Probably exciting. I actually did a read to someone recently and I got that card and it was the wrong stuff that was not upshot in the, you know what I mean? That's like a hidden.
Very good. Yep. So there's like, oh, should I proceed with this relationship? Like,
I'll just say,
hang back, wait. Yeah.
And also me as something to prove me.
Something can be brewing.
Can't fight.
Yep. Think bigger, I've got here. Think bigger than what you're thinking, because you're not connecting with anything yet. All right, what's number 8 all about?
Straight prosperity.
Yes, auspicious number.
He was
harmony, yes.
Canalization.
Power, transformation, yep.
Still say balance.
Yes, yes. Power in balance,
Benji.
yes. Yes, wealth, prosperity. Love how all the Asians have lots of 8s in their telephone numbers and car regos, and
They buy an 8 on the 8th of the 8th, which is supposed to be.
and they all get married on the 8th of the 8th. Yeah, it's like Valentine's Day in China on the 8th of the 8th.
That part they in Spain round the top of Dragon's Head or something like that, and they all party by Dockney and night.
Yep. 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 All right. So knowing all of that about the number 8, what's happening here?
Talking away. Is he looking very carefully in the right?
Yes.
Had it straight to walk away. Put everything in all his ducks in a row and he's wedding ordered.
And this happens a lot in relationships too, right? When someone needs time out, it's not necessarily leaving a relationship. You know, like the death card doesn't mean the end. It means a transformation of sorts. So the passion and love is still there because he's wearing the red. And I reckon he's surmounted this mountain already because it's green. He's grown from this one. Now he's going towards the black one, the unknown.
But like letting go of the past.
Maybe that's part of it. Yes.
Because in this night, second wind was more on that. And the 8 people, so the 8 as an astrologist and the Scorpio, letting go.
Yep.
But I reckon standing is not too bad. And so I pick the moon and they're in there. That's all. So yeah, represent.
And the cups are splayed out in a way that it looks like there's one missing. So what is he going off to find?
Yeah, so going, sort of man.
Yeah.
Come on, this day like soldier.
Yes.
And die to the unknown.
Yeah.
It's like this sort of wing through color. In this,
Yeah.
like at the top, comes down in the middle, and then you walk around again. And that's why they came these symbol. So in says toward soul journey.
Very much a soul journey. Yeah. And quite often in a relationship, the one wants to go away and have a detox or, you know, this rebirth, couple of days, a weekend away or whatever. And the other partner feels like, why can't I come? Why are you going off on your own? You know, but it's not about the partner. It's about them fulfilling something within themselves.
So,
But the partner feels threatened because of their own insecurities.
Is he looking for another factor around it?
It could be.
yes.
Could be something brewing there that he has to like spend that time alone. No one can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself.
Sure.
No one can appease or fulfill you how you can fulfill yourself.
Do you think also to also mean that's the situation and people be choosing might not be right sitting at the moment. So they need to kind of take a bit of a journey to kind of teach what they're doing more and
Yes.
like come so on.
It's a number 8. There's prosperity here. The prosperity comes from you believing in yourself. Comes from within.
Could be as simple as just walking away from
A situation.
seriously.
Yes.
Like all those cups, whether they're relationships, whether job.
Yep. Could be. It's like I love everybody, but I have to go away and love myself too.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
out there becomes a new here for fighting for holding in the out with me. That be at the fight. The fight is not for a long time. Fight.
I always see that moon as being eclipsed. So how does one feel what does eclipse mean? What do you feel when you're eclipsed? Something's overshadowing you. Something's, you know, so you have to maybe go away to look at it and learn from it and grow from it and awaken from it.
If it's related to relationships, you could look at it as that midlife crisis card, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, eclipse. So it's been, he's not seen what he's actually got. Like he's got all those cards there, cups.
Yep.
So he's got everything. He's got, say, material and
Yep.
marriage, but then.
Yep.
Dude.
Absolutely. It reminded me of remember that Jack Nicholson movie when he I can't remember the name of the movie, but he comes out in the doctor's surgery and he goes to everybody, what if this is as good as it gets?
And they'll cut up to me for these one delay.
Oh. You know? So
Take God.
yep. Yes. Hello.
Very.
Yeah, that.
And I like that because his feet are there. It's like he's the missing cup, but he can't see it. He has to like go away, have that time out to see that. That there's nothing wrong with him, you know.
It's a bit like the hangman looking at it from a different perspective, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, very nice. All right. How are we going for time?
And sleep.
It's when he passed.
When does the break happen? Oh, we've got to hurry up. What's number 9 all about?
Ending relation, ultimate.
Nice. Yes. Yes. Always connects me to the hermit. The wisdom. Yep.
Okay, there.
Service.
Yes. Beautiful. So what have we got here?
Right. Scar.
It is known as the wish card. Yeah.
He's looking very smug about it too.
Yes. He found the cup and he's got them all on show now.
That prayer.
But we don't know what's behind that blue emotional veil, do we?
No idea, something or it's not quite present anything.
Maybe he's saying, I know I've got stuff, I've got baggage, but I don't need to.
Show it.
Yeah. We've all got baggage, right?
But his sacrifices is like it's hiding time and still probably didn't baby on his back. Yes, he's not finished yet.
I always see that card as saying, I'm satisfaction. But, I keep up things going, but it's satisfied with being rash. And there's a branch of a witch land, it's up out, and independence.
Yeah, and the red hats on the head, there's more desires, there's more to come, there's more ideas. I like that he's on a simple bench. It's not a fancy throne of sorts, he's hard-working.
That's the practical side of everything.
Yes.
Hardly.
Sometimes in a relationship, people can have that closed-off heart and just work for the family, work for the kids. But he gets his fulfillment in a different way.
I think he's happy. He's got everything he wants in love. That he's automatically said, I'm not going to give it up.
Nice. That's good. There's an infinity symbol here. And his arms are making that shape as well.
Yes.
So balance, and that's why they see it as a wish card, because it's about attaining all the good things in life without that effort or, without that emotional baggage.
As he's like a Jan, and Helen's almost at the end, so he's done the work.
He's put in that effort, yep.
The line of what trophies.
Yes, he's got all the cards on the table. He's not hiding anything. Yeah, they say that he's like the father of yesterday. So I always think of, The Sound of Music, the father in The Sound of Music, how he made the kids turned them into little soldiers, but Maria came along and made them play. So he's like, he wants to see the kid. How did that saying go? Do you want to
See, but not. But
yes, the kids all have to be nicely dressed at the table and only could hear about how much Dad loves them through Mum. Yes, very disciplined, yeah. So,
might be break time to have up to into.
yeah, can we do number 10?
Yeah,
All right, let's do number 10. What's number 10 all about?
fabulous.
Oh, sorry, I don't know the cut.
Yeah, that's all right.
So, okay, Jerry type them the design.
Yes. Attainment,
So, the see,
completion, connects to the Wheel of Fortune. Things are, that number 1 and the 0 continually moving.
would it be a new cycle?
New cycle on another level. Yeah, it's like you finished high school. Sorry, what's the first level of school? Primary, and then you go to high school, and then you go to uni, or you go out to work. Like there's these cycles. Yeah. All right, so we have the 10 of Cups.
Fabulous attainment.
In the relationship. Yep. And we've accepted the disappointment, we've accepted the hard times, we've put in that hard work and effort, we've rejoiced the good things. That's when we become whole.
Yeah.
So you have to accept the shadow side to truly be whole. And I love how he's got her back. He's supporting her back. And they're all the combination of the red and the blue. So no one's really the leader. There's like equality here. I love how their arms both are making the shape of the cup as well. And we've got the green grass, the undulating hills. We've got the little red roof on the home.
Blue sky.
Here's the blue skies again. And the rainbow. What does the rainbow promise us?
Yeah, but I go and get him and make. Yeah.
It's like rainbows, it's like God's promised in the two in cups. And the angel was there in the beginning of the relationship. Now I've got God's promise saying you don't have anything that you then I've asked if you need a relationship. There you go. That's everything. We've done with it.
Yeah. And it's a humble little home. It's not like a palace. There's someone's got to mow the grass. God, I remember when I used to live in Kyneton, and every weekend I would mow the grass, and I swear I could hear it growing behind me as I cut it in front. And if a weekend rained one weekend, it was double work the next weekend. Oh my God, so a lot of work. But someone's got to cut that grass. There's work to do here still. But they're rejoicing. And there's the gold that connects to that Two of Cups. Once again, that soulmate connection. And I always like to finish this card with like that Disney saying, and they lived happily ever after. All right, so I've popped a spread on your table, just using the cup cards. You can see the basis of the matter is card number 1. And then on the left side, the top tip of the cup, what you think you are lacking, and the left bottom of the cup, what you are unconsciously asking for, and then the right top tip of the cup, what is obvious that you are not lacking, and the bottom, what is being offered that you cannot see yet. And then the top of the, like in the cup, on top of the cup that the dove is bringing down for you is your gift or message from Spirit. So think of your relationship and have a little, well, you can be a relationship with yourself or a relationship with a family member.
We just like creams, the foods. Yeah.
So while we're just doing that, I just want to
Here, Arisus, sorry, and using what?
just, yeah. just all the cup cards. So yeah, follow me on social media, everybody. I'd love to see you there. And also you can subscribe to my monthly newsletter. I've just issued number 213. So it's one a month for how many years now that I've been doing the bloody newsletter? Yeah, it's full on. And I'm on Instagram and Blue Sky. So Blue Sky 30, it just hit 30 million people that have just subscribed. So if, you know, subscribe to 30 million.
Yeah.
What? Yes. It's incredible. And of course, LinkedIn. And then also on the table, you would have noticed there's a little flyer there with a directory. So I've created a directory. So if you want to subscribe to that, thank you to Andre. Andre, thank you for filming today. Andre is also the founder of the Victorian Small Business Network. So I recommend you get onto that or ask Andre what's that all about. They have monthly meetings, they have monthly Zoom sessions. She's podcasting people now, and she's great with marketing and content. And you want to learn business, she's the man. I'd love for you to subscribe. Any questions, let me know. I'm always on email or text, whatever. Thank you for today, everybody. It's been wonderful to come back and share, and thank you for sharing as well. Thank you. Yay!